opinions on this.
Yeah, and I'll try and see you on Thursday, and then get the...
What do I do? What?
Just keep doing it. They're annoying.
What?
Too fucking cut. Come here.
Get your hand off me.
Come here.
What?
Where were you?
I'm not talking to you about this. I'm not talking to you about this. Get your hand off me.
Who was there?
Get your hand off
Who
me.
was there? Tell me who was there.
People are looking at us.
I swear to God, Chris, I swear to God.
People are looking at us. Will you get your hand off me? Stop it. People are looking at us. What's wrong with you?
Honestly, we're fine.
Grant, I'm Grant, thanks.
Okay, because someone will call the police if you carry on doing that to someone.
Okay.
Because if I don't, someone else will.
Okay. It's perfectly fine.
You don't have to put up with that, Alan. Okay. Thank you.
My office is there. You're definitely all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Problems just coming up.
I'm Grant, thanks. Do you ever listen to me?
Chrissy, stop that. Just, you're crazy, man.
Manic. I've been talking at you for the last 10 minutes and you haven't listened. You haven't gotten into fucking what I've been saying to you. But you're fucking not even listening to me. That's what. Why do I push you like that? Because you won't fucking respond to me about any. You won't listen to me. You think you're fucking all manly.
I wasn't.
No, you can't be. No, you can't be. Don't try and fucking walk away. Stop. Listen to me when I'm talking. Don't try and fucking walk away from me. Stop it. Was it fucking bullshit? What is fucking bullshit?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What the fuck is wrong with me? There's nothing. Don't give me that shit, okay? Pathetic. You're so fucking pathetic.
Intense. Intense.
My blood is hot.
Right. As you saw, there were two scenarios there. One with a man, one with a woman. What was the difference? And why was there a difference, do you think? With the way the public reacted?
I think it's actually quite sad. The difference is no one came to the man's aid. There was a part where a lady had, well, majority of the women in that scene were laughing, also alongside with the men as well. I kind of think it's quite shameful to see that it's not taken seriously, although she was doing exactly the same thing. In the reverse roles, no one came to his aid. No one thought it was anything serious. It was, yeah, I guess it's a pure example of what goes on in every day.
Do you think it's okay to hit? Do people generally think that society thinks it's okay for men to suffer from physical abuse from women?
Yeah, I believe so.
Mm.
I feel like people feel like...
Talking to the mic?
Sorry, I feel like people feel like it's not as deep as if a woman was to hit a man. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to run that part again. What do you mean?
Like,
what do I mean?
Yeah.
Do you think society thinks it's okay for men to go through physical abuse? Because we saw there,
it's justified. I think the way it's seen is if a woman does it, it's not seen as heavier.
that deep, yeah.
And it's put across like that because, you know, they are deemed as, you know,
the fairest sex.
And they always ask, what did he do
Yes.
to deserve it?
Yeah.
Right.
There's no questions asked on the other way around.
Yeah,
you deserve better than that, you know?
Yeah, like if a girl's going crazy, it's always like, what did he do?
Mm.
You know, what do girls always say? What did he do to make her go
you do
crazy?
it, yeah.
But no, you're just crazy. Like, I don't...
And one of the lines from there I think was quite interesting is that the guy came and said, oh yeah, you deserve better than that. You don't have to take that. But no one said that to the man. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, what, does a man have to take it?
I think it's what's put out there. A man has to take it. I think it's seen as now, if a woman does anything of that nature, we are automatically, by default, expected to accept that. Because at the end of the day, if we don't, you know, there's going to be tons of other people with a similar kind of traits. And it's not going to get any better. So we have to kind of be content with the kind of treatment we're receiving and just hope for it to improve. You understand? And that just depends on the kind of guy you are. Moral coding. And I guess it's what was pushed out there for the man to be weakened.
Right.
To accept it. To
I don't think it's weakened.
Yeah, I think it is for a man to be weakened, because at the end of the day, I don't think anybody should be hitting anybody. I think violence is violence. At the end of the day, I've had this conversation with a few people. You know, say, oh yeah, the girl's weaker. She's not as built as you. A man is built with muscle. Then I say, okay, let's put a gun into the equation. I know that's a bit extreme, but if someone picks up a trigger, you know, a female picks up a gun, a guy picks up the gun, they both pull the trigger, it does the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you go up to Dwayne The Rock Johnson and you punch him, no one's going to be mad, or no one's going to feel bad for you when you get punched back.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be punching him, but yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, girls, like, if the argument is that the girls are weaker, like, then you could say the thing, if a weaker man goes up to a stronger man and hits him, do we feel bad when he gets hit back? No. But it's kind of weird because...
I guess it would be seen as bullying then in that aspect.
What do you mean? So, like,
because someone your own size, if you're saying a weaker man...
Yeah, but I'm saying if the weaker man picks a fight with the bigger man, and then the bigger man hits back... Nobody feels bad for the weaker man because he picked the fight. But for some reason with women, it's not the same. Like if a woman picks a fight with a man and it's hitting a man, but if she gets hit back, people...
Because in that scenario that we saw, if the man was to retaliate, during that time...
People would have came up.
Right.
It's a different ballgame.
Yeah, but the chances are if I was to punch you and you punch me back, you're going to hurt me a lot more. And I'm not justifying it, but that is truth. You know, you are the stronger sex. So I'm not saying that I don't go around punching men, and I wouldn't. But because as a woman, I know that if I did and he hit me, the chances are he's going to hurt me. Like the domestic violence statistics are...
I'm with you and I'm not with you. You have a point, but then at the end of the day, you spoke on the narrative of you're weaker because you're a woman.
Yeah.
But that is biological, is it not?
We could take the same example with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like he's huge biologically, and so if a skinny man picks a fight with a big man and he punches back, nobody feels bad for the skinny guy.
Of course, but domestic violence over here, a woman's dying every 3 to 4 days.
I think it's everywhere.
Of course, but I'm talking about the UK, so I don't know what the opposing argument.
So, most domestic violence is mutual, so both parties are hitting each other, but one-sided abuse is actually more common for men to be hit one-sided than women to be hit one-sided.
I've actually got some statistics for domestic violence when it comes to women and men. Against men specifically, because I've gone to the National Centre of Domestic Violence, right? And it actually says this: male victims. A finding was mirrored in an annual crime survey for England and Wales, which found a quarter of all domestic abuse crimes in 2018 to 2019 were committed against a male victim. In the same year, 16 men died at the hands of their partner or ex-partner, compared with 80 women. The crime survey stats also showed that 3.8% of men, which is equal to 786,000, were victims of domestic abuse in 2018-2019.
See,
I'd be very interested in that video, except having a woman that was bigger than the man.
Right.
Do you think that was done typecast? Like, do you think that was done deliberately just to...
Probably.
No, I think they just got who they could to play the roles. But it would be interesting if you had a woman, say Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey bullying a smaller dude. You can't make the argument that if Ronda Rousey punched you, it wouldn't hurt. Innit?
No, of course not. How many?
She's trained.
How many women are built like that though?
Yeah, well, you know, that's what I'm saying. But it'll be interesting to see how this logic lines up when you have a woman that's more physically imposing. Because I guess the idea with that video is that the man is obviously going to be the more physically dominant one.
Right.
So he can take more, and whenever he wants to, he can finish the situation. And so that's why it's more tolerated.
So would you say that is a misandrist type of view?
No, I think it's just based on reality.
Okay.
Like the guy, like if he wants to beat her up, he could. Like it's not like she's physically stronger than him. It only changes if when you have a woman who's physically stronger than a man. I would like to see whether society holds that up in the same lens. Like would that be bullying? I don't know. Could you say the woman should like sustain more, should be more patient because the guy is weaker than her, and you know this, that? Would they put the same responsibility on the woman to be the more mature, more patient kind of part of, you know, that would be very interesting to me.
So before we was talking about misandry and what it means, like, do you think that the society's become more misandrist.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't
Because
think
misogyny is
she's
spoken about a lot, isn't it? Like we speak about misogyny, men are misogynists, you know, and there's a lot of talk about misogyny when it comes to the whole feminist movement. But I can see, from what I can see that misandry is kind of taking more of a foothold now over misogyny. I can see women actually hating men and hating on men. Men are trash, men are dogs, men are this, men are that. Like, why are you smiling and laughing?
What do you expect? That it's a consequence of misogyny. That's where it comes from. If you take that out of the equation, then you won't get so. I don't think it's, as a woman, I know full well it weren't ingrained in me to hate men, but as you grow up and you see them act a certain way, then you're going to have an opinion of them. I wouldn't go swimming. I wouldn't go swimming in Australia. Even if there was one shark attack, I wouldn't go near it because I know the consequences. But yet, as women, we're expected to still trust men that hurt us.
Well, what? Okay.
Oh wow.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
Like what you said. What do you see that men do that's so bad?
Well, first of all, I said about the domestic violence, and then I think if you look at like,
well, women do it too.
No, of course, but men ain't dying at the same rates. So,
well, they can't.
Who's to say?
What do you mean? Who's to say?
I think everything that we see is what's given to us as facts.
Right.
We can't take that as gospel.
Do you know any men that have died from domestic violence?
Male suicide is one of the biggest indicators of male suicide is relationship conflict or breakup. So, you know, maybe it's not being logged as domestic violence, but there is definitely abuse going the other way, and that's a significant part of male suicide. And
more women hit men one-sided than men hit women one-sided.
I struggle. I do struggle with this. Like on the websites that I've seen, that women are arrested more for domestic violence than men, even though they suffer more. And on like when in 2020, when 110 women died that year because of that, the hands of male, 50% of those deaths were overkill, which means that they killed them. There was like brutally killing them long before that, long after they were dead.
110 in London.
No, in the UK. In the UK.
That's really not a lot.
One every 3 days. You don't think that's
110 for the whole year?
So say from
for the whole year?
Yeah, from the whole year. So from then to now. So say at the
what percentage of deaths is that? That's got to be less than 1%.
Do you honestly think that a woman dying every 3 to 4 days is not a lot?
I don't think it's like a pressing, like if it's not one of the number.
How do you not?
Because it's not one of the number one ways people are dying here. So like if we're gonna talk about if that's the big issue, like then we should maybe put obesity.
Why is it always fat people when that alcohol is a drug and it's so normalized?
We could do alcoholism.
But why is the default always fat?
Why is the default always fat? It could be alcoholism too.
Because the stuff that more people die. What Pearl's trying to say is more people die each year from self-inflicted things than something that's been inflicted on somebody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense, but it doesn't excuse it. Do you see what I mean? So say when
I wouldn't excuse it. I don't believe anyone should.
It's just putting it into context.
Yeah.
If you take a number like 110 out of a country with like 60 million people and try and make the case
that's wild.
Because you're trying to generalize something about men.
But
and so if you're gonna make a generalization about men, I want to see, is this prevalent among men? Is this really common? And when you said 110, I'm like, well, okay, the UK is very populated. That doesn't sound like a lot of people. And when you put it into context,
but if you put it into context,
I don't think it's okay. I don't think it's
right.
I'm
not saying you do, but then if you put it into context, the same amount of women have died this year, right? So it's one every 3 to 4 days. So say from 2020, 2021, 2022, if you multiply 110. That's 330, yeah? That's close to a year. So out of 3 years, there was 1 year where a woman was dying every day. That's mad. When you put it like that, is that not mad?
I don't think it's okay, but if I had to guess, I would think that things like car crashes and obesity would probably be higher.
But they're self-inflicted, so that's on them. I could walk down the street and be murdered by a man, and what did I do to deserve that?
Why does it have to be a man? You could be murdered.
But I was talking about that statistic. When we're talking about domestic violence, it's men killing women.
My point is, why would I make a generalization about men when it's not a huge percentage of people that are dying?
Oh, okay.
At the hands of men, like from domestic violence.
I think that's probably just a difference in opinion, because I think 1 every 3 to 4 days is to a week. I think that's wild.
I mean, you can manipulate statistics to make them sound like it's a lot more prevalent than it is. But when you look at how many people, if I Googled right now how many people are in the UK,
it's like 60 million.
Yeah, 60 million people in the UK.
But
110. That's not.
Cool. But then when you put it down to 1 to every 3 to 4 days, that doesn't. And like I said about one like a year, and that would have been just women. But this is what I'm saying. Get off this. But this is what I'm saying. This is why, because there's a consequence for your actions. So as men, if you're going to enable other men and whatnot, then it's a repercussion.
How do men enable other men? We just saw in a clip where when people were when he was attacking a woman in public, people rushed to her defense. Yeah. How was that enabling?
Well, the thing is, I understand that video. The video is terrible, but that's just one incident. You could film that tomorrow, and there could be a different reaction. Because I personally have seen 3 incidences of domestic violence with a woman being attacked, and I haven't seen any. I was the one that went to see them. It was me. So I know full well that happens. So I'm not shocked by that video at all, because I don't know what people expect.